Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chucklesluts, episode 2. This is the podcast where you come for the sluts and stay for the chuckles. My name is Samuel Locke.
My name is Zach Clapperich.
My name's Shannon Brunetti.
It's okay, we're going to fix that in post. So, if you came here to slut shame us, joke's on you, we don't have any. So today we're going to talk about all sorts of cool things from video games to the world at large, and our first segment is called The World, Though. And this is kind of us talking about what we really kind of enjoyed or noticed something interesting this week, and I've got a really good one for you guys today. The Supreme Court has voted in favor of giving Indian tribal lands, literally the entire eastern side of Oklahoma, to include Tulsa, which is really weird.
Well, what do they? I mean, are they like kicking everyone out of Tulsa? Like, how does that work?
So the way they labeled it is that it is now under Indian jurisdiction, just the entire eastern side of Oklahoma. They didn't say the boundaries. They just said it also covers Tulsa. And I haven't seen a map or anything, but just the idea of like this whole half, it's like a half. It literally said half of like the eastern side is just all theirs now. It's very cool because I'm tired of being the white guy that has to steal everyone's lands. I don't like that very much, to say the least. But I thought it was really cool that that's a thing. And yeah, what's your The World, Though story today?
Well, okay, so this is...
Or do you want to keep going with this?
Well, I mean, I'm really intrigued by this Indian thing because I think it's interesting. My first thought is the taxes. Is it now like, if it's now under that, because it's a nation. It's like the Native American nation, like in sense of like legal terms. No, in sense of legal terms. So do they get to tax Tulsa now? Because that's fucking cool. That's like a power move. They put on a red tie and walked into Tulsa.
There are so many questions that I have. I mean, taxes, obviously, but like if you get arrested, do you go to Indian jail or do you like I don't know how this works. And the thing is, they don't know, the US doesn't really know how this works either. They're actually I think they might end up like trying to low key sue about this because it's like, how do you give that much land and how does all that work?
Well, it's Brad.
I mean, there's going to be a bunch of Karens up in there being like, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah. Because, they don't know. There's going to be a million Karens that, like, it's sprung upon them. But, yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like, when the nation comes in and all these angry, shitty people that represent, like, the unfortunate history of white civilization, they're just going to be like, how dare you? But they have no legal grounds to stand on. It's amazing.
Yeah, and then I guarantee you, at least 5,000 white people are like, well, I'm 1/16 Cherokee, so I'm really happy that this became a thing.
Like, sit down, Billy Bob. No, you ain't.
And they probably weren't willing back then. We all know what happened in the Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
Lols. But yeah, well, I'm going to keep my eye on this one because I think it's fascinating and I want to see how it plays out.
Well, this isn't a modern thing per se, but I recently have fallen down a deep, dark abyss, and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. So I was on the old TikTok, and that's only the beginning of the story. That's not where the story goes. But I found this guy he's basically like an ancient aliens guy. But much more research, like a chariot of the gods type research kind of human. And this dude has me believing fully in ancient civilizations. Like, it is blowing my mind. I've been doing insane research because I have so much time on my hands. I've been digging in. There is so much evidence that there was like ancient civilizations that were like very, very long ago, like a million years ago, that have just been like, that were either decimated or left or whatever, that modern civilization is just built on top of. Like almost all ancient ruins have like several different layers, but like the bottom layer has like perfect, beautiful, impossible architecture with rocks that are impossible to be there, with like styles of architecture that don't match up with the civilization that the temples and things are built on. And I am now I think I'm a firm believer. Like, I'm an Ancient Aliens guy. Like, I don't know how to feel, but like, it's legit. It's really, really incredible. There's a lot of evidence that they're real, like, million-year-old civilizations that were far more advanced than what we think they were.
Sure. I mean, the Earth is 4 billion years old. We would be kind of naive to believe that there wouldn't be some kind of ancient thing before us. I mean, that's 4 billion fucking years. Like, so, like civilizations live and die. I mean, we're modern civilization for us is literally only, what, 4,000 years old? And you're telling me that couldn't be, like, it totally could be a thing. I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm completely insane or not, but I mean, because I could just be getting like cabin fever and like losing my mind. But it's really cool. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, a lot of it has to do with architecture, but a lot of it also has to do with just like the basic, like the systems of like, I know there's the kind of cultural growth that happens. Can't remember the term for it right now, but where culture grows in like similar styles all across, or I think it's more evolution, but culture similarly follows with it. But there's shit like, you find things that are like 40,000 years old in both China and like Canada that should have no connection whatsoever. But like, they're like more advanced things and tools that could have ever happened. And then the question becomes like, was this like a snowball Earth situation? Did we get wiped out? Was there like an asteroid that took out everything? Maybe there was like a full-on apocalyptic disaster, and or did these motherfuckers get like abducted? Like,
What do you think, Shannon?
Honestly, I've been gaming a lot. I play a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they have like a super ancient alien civilization concept in there, and I'm just thinking like, oh, it's like the game, man.
But it seems legit.
No, I mean, like, it would just be completely, what is it, like, succumbing to our hubris to think that we're like the most advanced thing out there. Like, if anything, possibly humanity was, you know, I don't know how much I believe the ancient alien stuff, but like, there is possible that we were an ancient civilization that escaped a dying planet, since we like to, you know, steal all the resources for ourselves. It's like a common theme with humanity. So maybe we had a planet we ditched and then came here billions of years ago, escaping whatever world.
Which also feeds into the problem with like the Fermi paradox, which is, if you all, I've never heard of this, there's like a real like philosophic thought as to how on earth have we, even just in this short amount of time we've lived and seen and what we've seen of the galaxy, how we never seen any other intelligent life, when mathematically they're like, there must be.
Well, we just
Fermi
don't
paradox is this thing that introduces a bunch of different concepts as to how we haven't seen them. Some of them is this great filter theory. Some of it's the theory that any civilization that gets like intelligent enough to create space travel will kill itself because we're fucking monsters. But another is that we're just wrong, and we have had aliens here. They're like you said, it's hubris to think that maybe that we know everything. Like, absolutely, maybe they're fucking were aliens. Maybe we are aliens, and yeah, we're like descendants of just like what was the leftover.
Here's the thing. Let's be realistic about it. The reason we're not finding them is because our technology is absolute fucking garbage. As far as other aliens are concerned, we're still Neanderthals looking through our little itty bitty telescopes. You know, like, I don't think it's a matter of is there or isn't there. It's just, has the technology to, you know, able to catch up with the rest of the global, or the space community at large, and it hasn't. Like, we can't even get to Pluto. Like, we as humans can't even do that. So it's like, how are we going to say, oh yeah, we have the technology to see literally aliens? No.
Well, I think it's more also of like, how has there not been like some form of contact? Because like whether we've seen anything, whatever we can do, more of like the paradox more sits in the fact is, if there's so much intelligent life out there, there's so many planets that sit in like the Goldilocks sort of like realm. Like, how's nothing advanced approached us? That's more what the paradox focuses on, is how have we not been approached by intelligent life, and or seen any evidence anywhere? Like, have we never seen anything that's a direct thing, even though now we have this like tubular space object coming from a different, I don't know if y'all know this, there's like the Cigar comet that's shot from outside our solar system straight past Earth. Nobody knows what the fuck it is, and it's not a comet, it's not anything. A lot of people think it's like an alien artifact or an alien ship of some sort. But yeah, it's crazy. So I think you're right. I think aliens have been here a long time. And now I'm a firm believer. I need to grow my hair out. I already smoke enough weed, so like I'm in.
Get that tinfoil like Hershey's Kiss hat going on your head.
I mean, I'm not worried about them. I welcome them. I'm gonna be like Jack Black that just gets fucking roasted right at the beginning of or Mars Attacks. She'll be like, "Yeah, what's going on, guys?" Like meep, 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 and they blow me up because I'm an asshole.
So we're gonna run out of time for this segment. So
sorry.
I wanna jump to Shannon on this one. What about you? What's your The World Though story?
Oh my goodness. I mostly have been reading too much news and got really angry. I guess it's not really positive, but
It doesn't have to be. We're not positive people here at all.
the most recent thing I read was the Supreme Court decision to side with the Cheetos administration about healthcare and companies not like denying birth control for their
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they sided with religious right rather than personal freedoms of health. Like,
and not just like, religion is cool. It's not my jam, but I can respect it. But I just, I don't know. I like recently in the last couple of months, we've been very like I'm learning all of the lies we've been told to in school. But the one that I wish, I guess, wasn't a lie was that there was supposedly a separation of church and state in our government, which apparently is a really huge lie because it's not been that way.
It's always been the biggest. I mean, we have in God we trust on our goddamn money. Like, and the thing about religion is, I don't mind religion that like all that much. Like I'm a proud atheist, and I don't mind if you go do your Jesus thing or whatever it is you worship. Just don't try and push your shit on me, man. Like I don't need your laws about not drinking on Sundays like they do in the South or whatever be the case.
I mean,
like
more importantly, like women's health and women's right to decide who the fuck they are. Like
that too.
It's absolutely asinine that at this modern day and age where people talk about, if you even begin to believe in kindness or equality, and still today, like the injustice that's done when it comes to like women's healthcare, when it comes to like minority healthcare, when it comes to things like it is fucking like horrendously broken.
Oh yes.
And it just seems backwards. It's like medieval. It's absolutely insane, and still people tout for it. And it's because our country's ran by a bunch of white dudes that are over 70 years old, and it's like they're just out of touch. They're all out of fucking touch. You tell me Mitch McConnell can give you one interesting conversation that doesn't involve something that makes you want to punch him in the face. Like
he's got the most punchable face. I thought Ted Cruz does, but honestly, like he's got.
Oh, you mean the Zodiac Killer?
Yes, the actual literal Zodiac Killer. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I mean, randomly, not really in the news or whatnot, but my own personal journey, like I'm agnostic, and I used to be anti-religion, which I'm glad I'm not anymore. It took going to same school as Sam, Loyola Marymount, and then also like being forced to take comparative religion classes. I took this amazing one at PCC, Pasadena City College, where it was what you can historically prove from all of the Judeo-Christian religions, like historical evidence. And it was kind of Ancient Aliens-esque because of all the things that we learned and stuff. But honestly, if I were to believe in the religion, it's the one, like the original religion, which was a woman. and her totem was a snake, which in Christianity and Judeo-Christian religions, the snake's bad. So I'm just like, haha, maybe it's that one.
I mean, that's the common thread.
I ended up taking atheism as a class, and that was the hardest class I've ever taken. It's like part science, part philosophy, and surprisingly a large amount of math involved. And basically the whole class is basically saying in the absence of gods, humans try to become gods. And that's what atheism is really all about, is becoming gods in absence of. And I thought that was kind of cool.
I think it's a matter of perspective on it. And this is my wheelhouse. Like I have two bachelor's degrees, one in philosophy and one in religious studies. And so that is specifically my wheelhouse. And atheism is a very complex thing because
it really
people see it very differently because it denies it requires you to have responsibility over. And sorry, I'm shaking. My dog is fighting me right now hard.
No worries.
That's a tug of war going on. But yeah, it requires you to take on responsibility. But so many people are still afraid of responsibility that they use atheism often as like a shield to become like a nihilism, which are two different things. Like they're sometimes interwoven, but they should be separate. And so like a lot of it is like for intellectuals, it is a matter of power. Like atheism is an acceptance of your own mortality, and a requirement for yourself to like push to be more, to be the most you possibly can, whatever way that means to you.
Here's the thing.
But to some people, atheism is purely like it is a you won't accept anything. Like it is a purely like this nihilistic, like unforgiving unacceptance of the world, and it's like a hatred of existence, and therefore it's like a forceful push towards nothingness. And that's the difference in like Jean-Paul Sartre and Nietzsche. Like there's very different things there going on.
And here's the thing. I'm not a religious person because I was Mormon for 18 years, and Mormons, I don't know if you guys know this, fucking suck. And and the thing is, like, the problem with Judeo-Christian thought process is everyone has to be an asshole. Everyone has to shame you into submission. And I hate that, because the basis of all three of those is just, sin and shaming people for sin. If we went to a more liberal theocracy where it was more about ending human suffering, I'm all aboard for that. If you were like, we're going to go end suffering today. You got your own issues, you deal with that. We're going to go, save the world. If religion became superhero-esque in that regard, I'm so on board.
Well, unfortunately, the big trinity is they're based on salvation, and salvation will always be based on it. It makes life not matter that much. It makes the afterlife matter more. And therefore, like, you are taught like that everything is about, like, you have to earn your right to matter rather than mattering now. Exactly. Whatever that means. It's the salvation religion. It's the perfect way to cull the masses. That's why as soon as like the goddamn Gutenberg press came out, the whole world got taken over by it.
So
Clive Barker wrote a book about that.
I'm gonna move us on, but Shannon, you get the last word on this.
Basically, I was just gonna say that current Christian religion, Christianity is basically a product of the Roman Empire, and it was used as a means to control people. Okay, we're done.
All right. Dope. So we're going to move on from this rather heavy conversation early in. If you're still with us, thanks for sticking around for that weird conversation. We're going to go into video game logic in real life to kind of cleanse the palate there. So
maybe. This could also get dark.
It could be. It's all downhill from here. So here's how this segment's going to work. I'm going to give you a video game genre, and you're going to tell me how it's going to apply in real life. And that genre today is going to be dating sim.
Oh my god, I played so many of those. The Japanese otome games.
This is not my genre, but I'm down.
Yes, so we're going to talk about how dating sim rules could, should, and would apply to real life. First off, I'm going to start this off. First off, everyone in the world is hot. There's no such thing as an unattractive person in the world, so everyone is absolutely tens. Everyone is a senpai or otherwise, and and everyone is too awkward to actually say their real feelings. So you have to spend 4 hours, like, kind of playing the dance that everyone doesn't want to play because everyone's too embarrassed.
In the game, or is this just what you're saying in like real life?
This is what it would be in real life if real life was a dating sim.
I thought you were like giving like a disclaimer, being like, before we talk about this.
No. This is
beautiful, and this is this.
This is our world now. This is our world. Everyone is attractive, but nobody wants to do anything about it.
Yeah. I'll have to collect my thoughts. Shannon, you're up.
Okay. I guess why is my background being a jerk? I guess if like dating sims or in real life, depending on the dating sim, there's usually like text options of like what you can say to people, and I don't know, like I feel like that would be really handy. Like, do you want to say, "Hey, hot stuff," or you want to say like, "Hi," like shyly, like in parentheses, shyly, "How's your day?" Or like, "Sup, bitch?" What's going on?
Honestly, a text tree would just be great for anything in the world. Like, that would make my life so much easier, because it's just like, okay, I'm gonna come up with word vomit, or I'm gonna come up with this handy thing, and hopefully my charisma's high enough for this to work.
Yeah, no, that taking away a little autonomy from the whole process would be really just streamlining it. Like every person you walk up to, it's like, I got 3 things to say to you. After that, I'm done. Like, I'm out. You don't have to worry about me anymore.
Like, hopefully the stats boost after I'm done with this interaction.
Mine, I guess, would be actually that's what I was gonna say is about like this stat boosting thing. Like, I feel like in a lot of these games, like you can, as you like level up and gain power, like the more you become more they're attractive or charismatic or whatever. Wouldn't it be nice if like after every relationship, like you actually got better as a person? And like you just leveled up, and just every time you like after every relationship, every new person you go to, it's just that much easier because it's never easier in real life. Like it's always a shit show meeting new people.
So much.
Facts.
But like, but what if like every fucking 45-year-old like broken ass alcoholic dad was just a slick badass because they're like level 30 charm because they've been through 6 wives.
Just some chunky boy.
Yeah, I dig it. I wish I could level up in real life. I watch a lot of isekai anime, and yeah, leveling up would be the best thing ever.
All I want to do is cross class, man. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I mean,
pretty the world would look too. I mean, it would be like a side scrolly type of thing, but like everything would be like super like beautiful, cherry blossoms falling everywhere, and everyone would have the same backstory.
Every single one.
So everyone would be able to relate to everyone.
I can just see it now. It's like, I'm lost. Where can I go? Well, you can either go left or you can go right. Okay, but what about north? We don't do north. It's just left or right. Like, that's just your world. Just left or right.
Like, it sounds, I mean, it's funny to talk about, but like, imagine also how horrifying that is. Like a trapped in a video game concept. Imagine being trapped in a dating sim. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. Because, yeah, everyone, like, no one sleeps. No one actually does anything. Like, the only thing to do is, like, go to bars and gyms. Like, that's, like, the only thing you can do in your whole life.
And school.
Everyone's hot and legal.
And then your thoughts would be loud so everyone could hear it. Just be like, you say something, you say the wrong thing. It's like, Kevin will never forgive me. Like, in your mind, but, like, everyone can hear you.
Also, like, you get, like, the asides, where you start thinking to yourself. You have an unlimited time to think to yourself about the thing you're going to say next, and it's not weird. You're sitting there for 2 hours thinking about this thing, and they're just still kind of, like, hanging out waiting for your response.
That's actually, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, like, if you're AFK, you can just, like, sit down and think about it, and they'll just be sitting there, occasionally tell you something, like, quirky and being like, man, you're taking a bit. I'm still here. For like 8 hours.
Also, you always have options. It's always like 6 guys or 6 girls for every like one person. Like, if you're the main character of this story, it's always like a 6-on-1, and they're all like wildly different people.
What if you're not the main character? What if you're that person sitting there for 8 hours while some bitch has to make their fucking decision?
Oh, see that? I didn't even think about the other way. I didn't even think about that.
Just like, wow, I'm just gonna
when you go down the wrong text tree, like you make a couple mistakes and you've gone too far, so suddenly you're like in a dungeon you didn't mean to be in with just like it's just like 4 huge dudes, and you're like, I didn't mean to go left. I wanted to go right, and it's like, can't go back now. You got to ride it out.
Also,
this is what you got to do now.
I just want to throw out the rules entirely change if we're using Doki Doki Literature Club rules.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know anything about that game, Zach, but it is.
Again, this is not my brand. I watch a lot of anime, and I watch some anime I'm not proud of. But I don't do a lot of the dating.
I mean, I've seen enough tentacles to know where this goes. But
tentacles. And don't even get me started on all the fucking Rule 43 Overwatch shit.
Hey now. That's good content right there.
The what? Did I say 43? I meant 34.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you knew exactly what I was talking about though, which makes me like you more.
As long as we're not crossing into Rule 62, I think we'll be okay. But here's the thing, like ultimately, let me explain a little bit of Doki Doki Literature Club. It starts off like any other dating sim, and then it goes so wrong, so subtly. You don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. It's either Monica or nothing. That's all you need to know.
I'm down. I've read some weird like manhwa on the internet that is also like takes some weird turns that I don't expect and I don't like, and I've put down some. I've had to close my computer screen and like go take a shower before. So I get it.
Any final thoughts before we move on to our next dope ass segment?
I'd want to be the main character and not the person someone's trying to date, if that was the scenario.
Honestly, I would totally be an NPC because I'm lazy, and it's just one of those things where it's like I don't want to have to deal with all the main storyline shit. You know, I don't need everyone relying on me.
And I feel like I might break the game because the last one I played like years ago before I actually found a boyfriend, I played this game called Samurai Love Ballad. It's by this brand called Voltage. They do a lot of mobile dating sim games, and I just kept losing and not having enough love points to like match with the dudes because I chose the non like damsel one. I'd give them sass, and they're like, "Your match is in danger." I'm like, I'm not gonna let this guy talk back to me.
Yeah. That's kind of scary. Like now I worry that maybe I don't have enough love points in real life, and that's why like I don't have a lot of friends.
I think there should be a Dark Souls for dating sims, just like the hardest fucking dating sim you could possibly.
Like, I mean, that's like the game Charlotte. Like, do you ever play the game Charlotte? It's a fucking dark game. Like you're basically you play a character in like a sex dream about a girlfriend who you like lost or cheated on or something, and it is a dark, weird game, but it's like a real, like a high budget game. It's like a $60 game when it came out. And it's fucking nuts. But if you need a weird game, I think a second one recently came out. If something weird to really get you like in a strange, cerebral relationship point of view, like it's fun. It's called Charlotte.
Okay.
Dope. So I'm going to move us a little forward. We're going to play our first like live game on the show. It is called Shit Happens. It is a real card game. All right, real card game. The way this works is this game was created by a dude who asked cops, clinical studies, psychologists, like what the shittiest situations could possibly exist for people. And they rated it from 0 to 100. Your guys' goal is to figure out what number that falls on that scale. And if the person who gets it closest wins the point. You guys have 5 points to win. Any questions?
No, I'm nervous and already pre-embarrassed by how out of touch I'm going to be.
From 1 to 10, and we guess a number, and the person who's closest gets the point.
It's 1 to 100, and it's based on how miserable the situation is. So if you get close, like the closest person gets the point.
Okay.
So this one's just a starter. Basement floods. On a scale of 0 to 100, how miserable is that?
I'd say like 70.
I'd go like an 80. I build a lot of things. My basement's always got tools in it. If I lost my tools, I'd be fucking.
So the answer for this one is actually 36. Yeah, people do not look at it as that big of a deal.
That's because these are all like you said, like clinical psychiatrists. These are smart people that don't use their hands. They're not fucking dumb boys like me.
Okay, so we're gonna do these next rounds for realsies. All right, organ traffickers drug you and steal your kidney.
I'd say like 85. That's like pretty bad.
I'm realistically pretty high, but I'm gonna go with like a 60 because at least I get a gangster fucking story out of it.
So
like presuming I don't die, like if I survive, that's a fucking badass story.
The answer is actually 85.5. You were 0.5 away. You definitely. First point goes to Shannon.
That was really close.
You were very close.
You're in touch with your misery.
Round 2. Surprise! You're having a baby at 50.
100. Sorry.
I don't know. At 50, I'd say like 30. Man, like it's gonna be great. I'm good. I figured out my life. If I'm gonna have a baby, like, but of course it's easier for me. Like,
I was about to say it's such a male response.
100 for women at 50.
Like, think about it, like if a woman, she's just like, surprise, you thought you were infertile, and then like if she wanted one, cool. But if she's like, top of her career, did never want kids, she's like,
For sure. No, this is a subjective based 100% because I'm a dude. Like, I'd be like, cool, dope.
Okay, so final answers. What do we got?
I'll
No.
30.
You said 100?
Yeah.
So I hate to say this, Zach wins at 54.
Aha!
Yep, that's a point for Zach. I know
That's so hard because that is entirely based on who's having the baby.
I know that's such a fucking raw deal, but that was the average, I suppose.
Yeah, but
Okay.
suck it, ladies.
Okay.
I guess most women probably want kids. I'm like some ones that don't, so I'm just like, ew.
Yeah, no, I get it. I completely understand.
All right, next round. Flat tire. How shitty is a flat tire to you?
Yeah, I'll go like 40. It
Like
depends on where I get a flat tire, though. So
Like a fucking 5. I can fix a flat tire without a crowbar in my sleep.
So it's actually a 6. It is not that. It's not that big of a deal, Shannon. It's not that big of a deal.
It depends on how many flat tires you've fixed. I run over a lot of shit and I've wrecked a lot of cars.
I mean, I know how to fix one too. It's just like I hate being inconvenienced.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's never fun. It's still miserable, but
That's something
right.
I gotta work on myself.
So we got current scores 2v1. Shannon behind. Next one, you go blind. How miserable are you?
I
blind.
mean, if I could be Daredevil, like
I mean, this is not a Marvel world. I know that sounds dope, but
Yeah,
I'd
blind.
say 65.
I'm gonna go like 90. I'm a writer. I could write without. I can speak to text. But I'll still 90. I would hate to go blind.
so we
I
got
love
90
looking at stuff. I love
so
art.
we got 90 for Zach. Shannon, what was yours?
65.
So it is a 99.5. This is universally hated by pretty much everybody.
I'm just losing, man.
Well,
Like,
no,
no.
it's like you're
Just
fine.
the wrong things being miserable and less miserable about. Wow.
She's like the big stuff I'm okay with, like life changing. I got it. If I have a flat fucking tire, I am ending all of you bitches.
Hey man, it's perspective. All perspective.
Okay, this one's gonna fuck with both of you. Spouse catches you masturbating a dog.
Oh, that took a weird turn.
It's on here. Apparently, this has happened enough times where they had to ask the question. So
Why would you do that in the first place?
I don't know.
Like a Van Wilder situation.
So on the miserable index, how miserable would you be if you caught if the spouse catches you masturbating a dog?
I'm a creature of shame. This is like a
95.
yeah. This is up there. I don't know. I've done some embarrassing things. I'll go 85, but I'd be changed forever. My whole life would be different.
So
Shut up, dog.
he knows what we're talking
He's
about.
like, zero.
So the answer to this, it is a big deal, but Zach, you're closer. It is 87.
Why only 87?
Yeah,
Still,
honestly, I thought that would be like a 95.
I think
That's a horrific deal.
I think the funniest thing about that is that someone actually thinks there's something worse than that. Like, what is worse than that?
That's like straight up scary bestiality and animal abuse, man. Like that's
Yes, you can.
All right.
Come here, sweetheart.
So we are 4v1. You need some ketchup and mustard, man. All right.
alright. I can lose really well. I've done it all my life.
Wow. I feel bad now.
No, dude, it's fine.
All right. So a coworker steals your lunch. How miserable are you?
20. Like kind of, but not really.
It will also, again, this depends, like, do I hate this coworker? Like, this is an important thing because I don't give a shit about my food normally. I'm a big community fridge person.
Always
but
assume
if my
it's the
nemesis took it, I'll fucking kill him.
always assume it's the worst case scenario with these scenarios.
I mean, I wouldn't be miserable. I'd just be pissed. It's like different.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go. I'm like a 5. I don't care.
Zach, you mitigate crisis and misery so well. Why are you so close to misery, my dude?
I'm like these snobby people, and I coincide with whoever made this game, which makes me question myself because I don't trust them.
So okay, I'm gonna do an extra one. This one's worth 5 points because I want a sudden death round. That's what I thought was gonna happen. Okay, so I picked this one because I know it's really difficult to ascertain how miserable this is. Win the Powerball, lose the ticket. How miserable are you?
Oh, that's
I picked this one because I knew it was going to be difficult.
like, for shame. Like, I feel like my answer makes me a bad person because you're not supposed to care about money that much. But
Bullshit. We live in America. All we care about is money.
I know, but you're not supposed to say it out loud. That's like, I don't like old people, but you're not supposed to say that either. Like,
oh, you're not? Oh shit. I gotta go see my grandma real quick. Fuck up, Grandma. God.
I'm gonna go like that. That's the fucking worst. That's like a 95. I would be mortified.
So we got a 95. Shannon?
I'd go 90. I'd be really, especially because like if it was a big jackpot, like.
Yeah, you're letting down your family. Can you imagine telling like your mom that, and your mom's like, "What? You could have saved everything."
So, believe it or not, it's not as big a deal as you guys think. It's a 69. But that means Shannon gets the 5 points because I like
fucking liars. That's what I'm talking about. It's for shame, you fools. That is not true.
So Shannon won that round just because I like extra points, and yeah.
Blast!
I would love to continue playing this game in future iterations. This is fun.
I dig it. I turned that into a drinking game.
It's like a perfect quarantine game, man. Like,
it really is.
Yeah. Because if there's ever a point where like humanity's in touch with their misery, it's right fucking now.
And it's a way to gauge how messed up your friends are at the moment. If they're like, you know, like me with my flat tires, like, are you okay?
Yeah. What if there's one guy on the stream where it's like catching your dog masturbating, and he's like, "What? 0? I do that twice a week." Whoa, Steve, you're done. I don't trust Steve anymore.
All right. So our next segment is one that we created last episode, kind of. I mean, we winged it, and it turned into a thing called Critical Failure. The way this works is we tell stories about rolling epic ones in D&D that were so awful and shitty and amazing that they have to be turned into stories. And with our resident DM, Zach, we'd love to start with you.
I'll absolutely start. I've got mountains of ones that I've rolled. Last night, I was playing a campaign. We were playing a one-shot because one of our other DMs was gone. And we were playing as monsters in like a weird game show. This literally the one-shot was like a monster hunt. But he had all kinds of traps all around this like field. One of the players was playing as a pixie. Pixies have 2 hit points, but they have tons of cool little spells and stuff. But they got to bump their spell DC up to 20, so it's pretty rad. And then one of the players was playing a Warforged Titan, which if you don't know it's like a giant mech suit, basically. So he was like a little rat in a huge mech suit. And he went up to this horrid cabin with the pixie. And he's like, is this cabin look all right? What do I do with this cabin? Like, what's going on in here? And he's like, all right, roll insight. And so our whole party rolled insight. 3 of us rolled 1s out of the 5 of us, which is astronomically insane. And he was like, well, for the ones that noticed, like, you don't care. It looks like a cabin, and everything in here you imagine is full of riches, of course. Why wouldn't you think that? You rolled a 1. You're stupid. And to the other 2 who did not roll as bad, he's like, you're getting a bad feeling. So our resident Warforged fucking Titan punches a hole through the wall just to break through the cabin door. The wall is apparently there was a Yugoloth, which is a giant nose demon which sucks magic, is just on the other side of it. So he punched a Yugoloth in the butthole through a wall, which this thing then erupted like some kind of fucking fireball, which this was 1 hour into a session, which killed our pixie, killed myself, killed we had a Drider. The only one that survived was the Warforged that actually did it. And so he vaporized our whole team because he lit up a Yugoloth that was wearing like a bead of fireball necklace, which he was supposed to give to us when we went into the cabin. But instead we punched a fucking hole in it and blew up our whole party. And also he's an asshole because he didn't have to punch a hole in the wall, but that's how we decided to get in. Not the door. Punched a fucking hole. But that's him. He typically punches holes in walls. That's his character type. But yeah, that was a bad time. We ended that session pretty early. We all died fast. But I did get to play I played a cloaker, which was a lot of fun. my girlfriend played a Medusa, and so I just played like her cloak, which is just like it's like a long train cloak, and I was just like Jerry. I was really afraid and scared the whole time, and she was just a badass bitch. It was a lot of fun.
I'm still kind of like a baby in the whole D&D thing. I've only ever done 2 campaigns. I'm in the middle of my second one.
Yeah, you're still playing. It's great.
Yeah, finally have another session tomorrow. I'm super stoked because it's been like a month without D&D, and I'm like,
Nice.
Anyway,
it's a disease.
it's the best disease. But I actually haven't rolled a 1 yet in the 2 years. I don't know how, but I haven't.
You are a lucky woman.
Member of my party though rolled a 1 because he was gonna jam out on a lute. He picked up a lute and we're gonna go. We were like going around in this goblin cave, and we were gonna go like try to find treasure and whatnot, and we got sidetracked as usual. And then my character is a demigod tiefling fighter, and I was up on this like cliff inside the cave just seducing the head of the goblins, because why the fuck not?
Of course.
And then our paladin decides to break out his lute to entertain the confused goblins, and he rolls a fucking 1. So our DM's like, you play this lute so terribly, you make all of these goblins' ears bleed, and they're now fucking incapacitated of your shit lute playing.
That's a blessing. That's amazing. They just put on the Nickelback album. It was great. He just jammed.
And then
And then
our dwarf cleric ended up breaking the lute over his head because he was like, God damn it, stop.
Nice.
I love it. There's nothing better than like bardic ones.
So we lasted exactly 45 minutes into this campaign before I fucked everything up. So there's this artifact that I absolutely have to have it in every game I play. It's called the Deck of Many Things.
I hate you. I already hate my fucking heart. I hate you so much because it's a stupid, stupid thing that breaks games, and it doesn't add anything to any good campaign. I hate it. It
really doesn't. But to my defense, I only use it when I absolutely I'm in a butt puckering oh shit moment, and I need to pull these cards. So Shannon, if you don't know what these are, as baby D&D, I don't want to mansplain anything, but basically,
do you know what they are?
No, so please.
Okay.
It's exciting, if nothing else.
Basically, these cards are god cards. Basically, if you're stuck in a really shitty situation, you can all of a sudden summon like a level 5 NPC, or you can get locked in Legion for all of eternity. Just a million different things that you can kind of do. So I'm running my ass off. I'm this like ogre barbarian thing, and we're just getting chased the fuck out. And I said, hey guys, I have this deck of many things. And so I pull one, and our D&D, our DM at the time was like, you need to roll for it. So I say, okay. I roll for it. I roll a 1. Guess what happens? So I trip, and it flips all the cards over, and my hands are on the card. So it activates every single card at the same time. I rip a hole in space and time, and I destroy 2 weeks worth of world building for my DM. He was so mad at me, he would not talk to me for an entire week because I ruined everything he created in 45 minutes.
No.
In your defense, though, he didn't need to activate all of them. Like, you could have just drawn the death card. There's literally a card where he said that you are literally banished to the astral plane, and if your group doesn't wish you back within a week, you're just gone forever.
Well,
there's no way to do anything about that.
His reasoning behind it was the most terrible fucking thing I could think of, and I was obligated to do it, even though I fucking hate you for it.
Yeah. No, they're a nightmare. It's one of those things where it can add like some fun to like a silly campaign, but a lot of times DMs will whip it out because it's like like in a random in like a serious campaign, because they are very powerful and they're artifacts. Like, they shouldn't be used a lot, but like every once in a while you'll get one where it'll just say like, hey, you're kind of cursed, and just there's a devil, like a huge devil that hates you and wants you to die. And so now for the rest of the game, like RP wise, every once in a while, just like devils will just start showing up and just trying to murder you and your friends. And you're like, well, sorry, devil hates you. Like, it's your fucking fault. You drew the jack of clubs. It's like, oh, neat.
So I want to close this segment out with one more story. Not a one roll, but an annoying ass player story. So we had this guy. He was brand new to D&D. He loved it a little too much. You know the guys I'm talking about that just kind of explode when they play.
Yeah, they get too excited.
They get really excited. And so this guy, not only was he really excited, but he was also equally annoying with his excitement and just like asking a million, trillion, billion questions that make no sense because he's like, granted, DMs obviously will have some patience in this, but this guy just took it too far because he started to get angry that he wasn't getting the answers he wanted.
Yeah.
And so what the DM did, he says, oh, you know what? Your god all of a sudden hates you and lights your hair on fire. You don't take any damage, but you're going to get -4 charisma wherever you go. And he's a bard, so...
that's just mean. That's a mean curse to do, but I get it. I respect it. I have punished rude players. I don't usually punish new players, but I'll punish a rude player.
And so what ends up happening is every time he tries to talk to an NPC, it was, oh my God, why are you on fire? Jesus Christ, we need to put that out. And one of the stipulations was if anyone puts out his hair, he instantly dies. So he has to run away from every single person trying to put him out. It was
That's actually a pretty good curse. I might steal that curse. That's a good one. I like that. I've done some weird ones. Yeah, I love it. As Shannon, so you know, we've talked about like once we sort of really get this going, if we wanted to, we can also like we could take like a day and just like our group play if ever we want to. I love running one shots. And
dude, I love one shot. I have the game called Dungeons and Death Runs, where it's basically a rogue game where you're basically playing to die, and then whoever has the most points out of that wins. So like you kill someone, you get a point. You clear a room, you get a point. You disarm a trap, you get so on and so forth.
I dig it. I'm doing the Rick and Morty campaign right now with some of my friends, and it is a fucking blast. The Rick and Morty module, it's amazing.
That reminds me, you and I need to start writing soon.
We do, absolutely. We need
We're getting close on the thing. We'll talk about it later, though.
Okay,
we're going to move on to If I Had Made It. This is a segment about shitty movies that we probably would have loved if they weren't so shitty, and we would talk essentially about how we would change it to make it less shitty. Zach, you want to start that one?
I start last one. Shannon, you start this one off.
My gosh. I've seen so many really crappy movies. Recently, I've been trying to avoid crappy movies just because it's a mood dampener while we're stuck inside.
For sure.
But I guess like the most recent movie that I watched that I thought it was like mediocre. It wasn't awful, but it was just like something that really bothered me because it got made and released in 2020. There's this movie starring Tracy Ellis Ross and Dakota Johnson called High Notes. That's the one. And it's centered around a little white girl trying to make it in the record industry and like riding the coattails of an established aging Black artist. And through all like the reason why I rented the movie in the first place, I was like, oh my gosh, I love Tracy Ellis Ross from Blackish. It's her singing in a movie, first time ever, and they made it seem like it was about her, but it was mostly just about Dakota Johnson and just kind of like this whole white savior thing. So I'm just like, if I could redo this movie, I would make it just about Tracy Ellis Ross and maybe take Dakota Johnson out entirely.
Yeah.
Because like the better story was like an aging pop star, a woman of color in Hollywood having to like struggle instead of like, oh, we're gonna have this white girl who wants to be a record producer who does it better than her current producer and like have her pull Tracy Ellis Ross out of her like funk. She should have been able to do it herself and she should have been the star of the movie. And I'm butthurt about it.
I get it. I totally get it. That's like a super serious, like I that's so respectable. Mine is gonna be so embarrassing after this.
Oh, no worries.
But yeah, no, because it's always frustrating when you see a movie and you can see that like there was intention, but it's one of those where it's like if someone were drunk at a party and they have this conversation, someone would have been like, hey, you know, like, no, like that kind of sucks. Like I don't like this probably should be rewritten to feel like there's a lot of those out there that try to be super serious and hit like the wrong marks and then they're focusing on the wrong thing. It's always frustrating. I was thinking about it and I recently was real stoned and watched both of the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Hear me out. They're fun and silly. But I was like, what if you made these movies and made it like this, like dark, more like Nolan-esque film, where it's these people, like these mutated people that have like lived underground, these like lizard people, these turtle people, and it is so much more. It's like a political like and sort of social commentary on these people like living in the sewers that end up like they have to survive, like, and it's really harsh on them, and there's this like subculture underground of like martial arts, these things. I got into a really deep conversation about having like a really dark, gritty turtle movie, which saying it out loud, probably not, but it was. I imagine like if you took like some of these fun, silly kid concepts, like Street Sharks, and if you just sort of threw them in a meat grinder with like a little bit of like Nicholas Refn and some Christopher Nolan, like you can just make some really dark, creepy shit. Like what is a rated R Ninja Turtles movie? And there's fucking people up, and it's much more about like their misunderstanding of the world. It's almost like a Sasquatch movie. I'm also reading a book about Sasquatch right now that might have may have influenced me.
Okay.
Speaking of Devolution is an amazing book if anyone knows misread it.
I'm gonna blow you guys out of the water because this is a movie that no one remembers for the most part, but I would change Flubber, the movie.
I fucking love Flubber.
No. Here's the thing. It is a good movie, but I know how it could be a million fucking times better. So, still Robin Williams, still Flubber, still kind of the main storyline. He discovers this really weird ferrofluid, but it is the plot line goes Marvel. He makes Flubber into he becomes a superhero because of Flubber. Like I just love the idea of Robin Williams just rolling in a fucking 1964 flying Thunderbird ready to fight fucking crime because Flubber can literally bounce all over the fucking place and just take down bad guys left, right, and sideways.
That would be really so cool.
That would be fucking dope. And not only that, but it can also change its properties. And it's obvious that it has a high level of intelligence because it's able to obviously conversate with Robin Williams. So if Robin Williams says, hey, make me a brick so I can throw it at this guy, it's totally going to do that. Like go make me a gun that shoots your Flubber bullets that will obviously go to this guy because you're fast as hell. Like he's basically Green Lantern, but with Flubber. And I love this idea, and it kind of blows my fucking mind that it's not a thing.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of precedent for like things like, and even the visuals for like, think of like Magneto and his little iron balls when he's just like ding, 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 using like one little ball of like metal to just slay 100 people. Like, what if that ball was sentient? Yeah, that'd be fucking rad.
Okay,
so I'm all about it. Yeah.
So now
I'm team Flubber murder.
So now we have to ask who would be the most powerful superhero? Would it be Magneto or Flubber Professor? Because
still Magneto.
I don't know, man. Because if the Flubber could be scaled up, you could have massive amounts of Flubber. And then on top of that, it's obviously a sentient Flubber. So not only could you have Robin Williams like giving really dope ass like Marvel level commands, but also you would have this sentient Flubber also doing its part, like coming up with its own ideas to fuck with people. And I really like this idea.
What happens when Flubber decides that they don't want to take Robin Williams' orders anymore?
Well, seeing as how
Flubber 2, Flubber on the loose.
Seeing as how Robin Williams is fucking delightful, I don't see that being a thing.
So no evil Flubber.
I don't see evil Flubber because
I like evil Flubber more because it's kind of like the Blob, but if the Blob were like super fast and rad. But I still like first Magneto. Like he's an Omega level mutant. There's no upper limit to his power. Like he can just pull metal from the core, Earth's core, and be like, "Flub this, bitch."
Well, here's the thing: if we have an intelligent Flubber, that means that Flubber could potentially find a way to self-replicate itself. In which case, it's now an AI problem where it's like it just replicates and replicates. Now it's like the biggest thing on the planet and eventually the universe because now it knows how to self-replicate.
It reminds me of the the short in a love, sex, and robots, or love, death, and robots, or something like that.
No spoilers. I haven't seen it. No spoilers.
No spoil, no talking about it. I mean, I've seen it all, but
It's been out for years now, but it doesn't matter. There's
1 year. It's been one year.
of the shorts is about yogurt, and it kind of has a similar vibe. So you first of all watch it because it's fucking incredible.
yes.
It was really amazing. But yeah, it's cool. There's something that is along those lines of like sentience and eventually outgrowing people. But yeah, no, I dig it. I would watch a gritty Marvel flubber. And I'd give that like maybe not to Marvel. I'd make that more of like a Zack Snyder, to where it would go more of like take this weird like John Carpenter-esque vibe where Flubber ended up doing that, like sort of the sentience became an issue where like Flubber eventually was like, me want to flub myself, and I don't know why he speaks like a caveman. He could be intelligent, but
like does it like eventually caves in on itself and it realizes it gets too powerful kind of thing?
Maybe, I don't know. It's sentient ooze. I don't know what the fuck it's gonna do, but I wouldn't want to fuck with it. It'd be so easy to kill somebody. Just go up your nose. Literally, just take it, go up your nose, splash your brain around. Like you kill people instantly.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have time to react. Like you'd be dead before you even realize it went up your nose.
Like if it can move around like the size of a pea, going up your nose, and just like with a little force going into your brain, it just ping pongs in your skull, and you're mush. You're a mush person. And then enough flubber, it could fill your veins, and then it could marionette everyone.
Oh, possession, human possession. Holy shit.
Yeah, because it could literally like fill up the inside of your body and just like walk you around. And can you imagine the pain of that? Oh.
So I guess what we're trying to say is that flubber is probably the most dangerous weapon known to man, actually.
Yeah, if they created flubber, they'd be able to rule the world.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea for a comic. It's not a bad idea for a Rick and Morty episode.
I'd watch the shit out of it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're coming up on our time here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of our probably 1 or 2 fans for tuning in.
For now.
No.
Thank you all 2 people of you for tuning in and watching our goddamn nonsense. I'm Samuel Locke.
I'm Zach Clapperich.
I'm Shannon Brunetti.
Zach, where can we find you in the world?
I'm really just on Instagram at zclap1, ZKLAPP1. And then I'm making content. Hopefully there's a show called Becoming Famous that will be coming out relatively soon that I wrote and directed. And then random, I don't know, maybe by the time this is out, I'll have something sold and I'll say something else.
Shanana, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch. I'm actually starting my initial spring fiesta tomorrow. Woo! At Shani B TV. That's SHANIBEE and then TV all crammed together. And then also on Instagram, which is my first and last name with the @ symbol. Yeah. For now, that's all I have.
Great. And you can find me at Slammy Sammy Locke on most platforms, at Samuel Locke on Facebook, and you can find me at Samuel Locke on the Tiki-Talkies, where I make comedy sometimes. Again, thank you for watching Chuckle Sluts. Thank you for staying for the chuckles, and we will see you next week.